So I want to talk about some best practices that CPAs, accountants, bookkeepers, and other tax advisors can use to help surface if their clients have sales tax responsibilities. The reason why this is so important is because if this goes unnoticed and your client needs to pay sales tax in a state and they're not, they could be under collecting or not collecting at all for months or even years. And this could mean hundreds of thousands of dollars in uncollected tax. And if they have an expectation, whether it's legitimate or not, that you are going to be advising them on their sales tax responsibilities, then it's going to come back to you. So in some instances, there can actually be a fiduciary obligation. There can be a duty for you to notify them of the fact that they either should or should not be paying sales tax. But let's say that you don't have that obligation. If your client ends up owing $200,000 because they missed paying sales tax in a state and they have to go out of business, you're going to be out of client. So there's just some really simple things that you can do to make sure that your clients aren't going to be running into a huge, crazy sales tax issue that's going to ultimately kill them. It's kind of like a doctor running out of patients because all of their patients died. Like, we certainly don't want that to happen to you. So there's really like two main things that I want you to consider implementing within your business in order to surface sales tax responsibilities. The first has to do with when you onboard a new client, and the second has to do with your annual review process. So let's talk about when you first sign up a client. Well, I want to make sure that in your service agreement or in your proposal, you're really explicit about what it is you are and what you are not doing when it comes to sales tax. Are you going to be doing any work? Are you going to be providing any sort of oversight? Are you going to be talking about nexus or not? And whatever it is you put in your service agreement, and chat with an attorney about this because I'm not an attorney, but you want to make sure that you're actually doing it. So if you say you're going to do something, you should do it. If you say you're not going to do something, you should not do it. And not only should you be putting this in your service agreement, there should also just be a conversation with them, because we know how often our clients will just sign something and they don't actually absorb it. So are you having that conversation during the sales process or during the onboarding process so that they understand what to expect? Now, I would suggest that even if you're not handling sales tax at all, just to be a good service provider, like, I don't know that you would have like a technical legal obligation to ask these questions. Unless you're a fiduciary, then like the argument could be made. But I think it's just a good practice to ask these questions when you're onboarding a new client. Like, where are you filing sales tax and how big is your business? If they're doing over $1 million a year and they are selling outside of their home state and they are only paying sales tax in their home state, then there's a really good chance that they are not aware of economic nexus laws. There's a really good chance that they owe sales tax outside of their home state and they don't even realize it. So that's just like a super easy indicator. And again, it's not like a precise science, but it's going to help you get closer to the answers. The next question I'd ask is, when was the last time you had a nexus review? And I'm not just talking about an economic nexus analysis. We need to look at economic nexus. We need to look at physical presence. We need to look at related entities, affiliates. I mean, there's so many things that go into this. And if they do not know and they ask the CFO and they also don't know, then we have a problem. And either you need to help them with that problem or you need to refer them to someone who can, like TaxValet. It's the only thing we do is sales tax. So figuring out, do they have a habit? Do they have a system or process around checking in on their obligations? And if they don't have that, then you should certainly steer them in the right direction. The third thing I'd ask is, who's managing your sales tax filings and who's managing your sales tax settings and maintenance? Because maybe they have an app that they're using for filings, or maybe they have an internal bookkeeper who's doing like part of this. But if they can only answer who's doing the filings, maybe they can't, right? And that's a problem. But if they can only answer who's doing the filings and they can't say that someone is overseeing and managing the tax settings and making sure that they're collecting the right amount and paying the right amount, because doing the filings is its own thing, but making sure that the tax that's coming in is correct, is accurate as well, that is its own whole separate workflow that I think so many businesses are just not even looking into because they don't even realize it. So many accountants think that sales tax is returns. There's so much more to it than returns. There's tax settings, there's voluntary disclosures, there's there's permit registrations and nexus reviews and audits and mail processing and calling the states. And I could go on, right? Unfortunately, in the United States, we have all of our states' rights, part of our Constitution, and it provides all of this flexibility on a state-by-state basis. And that flexibility creates a huge pain in the ass for us as accountants when it comes to dealing with the taxes. So these are some questions that I would ask up front when you onboard a new client, just to figure out what systems, what processes do they already have implemented. But the next thing I would do is I'd look at your annual check-in process. So oftentimes we see CPAs will do like an annual check-in ahead of tax season, or there's some sort of internal review or something that you're doing to just like get some oversight on each account at least once a year. In that checklist where you are going through the steps for your annual review process, I would just have a bullet point to bring up with the client. Hey, have you done a nexus analysis in the last 12 months? If no, then maybe you should get one done. And if you're not handling sales tax, then you can recommend that they check in with a partner, maybe like TaxValet, right? So we do nexus analyses for our partners and their clients all the time. And so if you're looking for someone who can provide certainty over if they owe sales tax and where, then you should check us out. Now, sales tax is super complicated, takes a ton of time, requires a lot of expertise. I guess we're just a whole bunch of masochists here because we love it. It's like the only thing that we do. But if you don't love sales tax and you're like 99.999% of the normal, sane population, and you want to work with a partner who cares as much about you and your clients as we do about ourselves, right? Unfortunately, it's hard to get a great partnership in sales tax where someone just really provides that concierge support and they know what they're talking about. So if you're looking to partner with someone like that, you want to just get sales tax off of your plate and you want your clients taken care of, consider reaching out to us. Our website is thetaxvalet.com. I'm Alex. I'm the founder. We'd love to chat with you.